I think we're here at the climax already. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host, Connie, and today we are here with Jentry Chau versus the Underworld, episode 10. And although we have 3 episodes after this, it kind of seems like we're already at the climax, which is really interesting. Because if you don't want to count last episode, because that's just kind of where the inciting incident happened that is causing what's going to lead into the climax, then you have 10, 11, 12, and 13 all being like the big finale of at least this season. The creators have said that they would like to do more. I don't know how this season ends to if it's like a satisfying ending just in case they don't get more. I don't know. But a 4-part finale, from what it seems, is insane. Because I think the only other show I know that's quite done that is Avatar, right? That's had like a full-fledged 4-part finale. Like, there's been other shows where, like, there's been, like, lead up to the finale and setup for it. But, like, I think Avatar's the only one that actually is, like, straight up a 4-part. um, we had Chang get the robe, thanks to Kit, and open the portal to the underworld, allowing him to fetch his daughter's soul, putting it back into her desiccated corpse, which he has just kept on him, I guess. Surprised that it was in as good a condition as it was. Though I guess we don't. Do we technically know how long ago she died? And also, his daughter was clearly human. Was it said that Chang used to be human as well? I think it was, but I'm not 100% sure. You gotta keep in mind that I don't always remember every little thing with excuse me, with any series I react to. I usually tend to remember most of the like big important stuff, but some little bits of information may get lost along the way. It's an occupational hazard with being a reactor. Um, I I kind of always assumed he was anyway, though, because it's like I kind of always assumed like all of these spirits used to be human. They're kind of referred to, I think, pretty interchangeably as spirits or demons or whatnot, but it kind of has always given me that vibe that they all used to be like normal people. Though I don't know if that's quite the case. I don't know. I don't know how it all works. But all of this is causing obvious problems. Shit has gone down already at the football game because of this, and right after Gentry was brought to tears in the middle of the field because of the vice principal being an absolute jackass. Like, I mean, I understand that there's kind of a joke with him being a conspiracy theorist who turns out is completely right, but he's also a piece of shit. Like, he's unlikable as fuck. The funny thing is, I like Chang more than him. And as much as I have issues with Gugu, I even like her more than him. He might be my most detestable character in this series, especially after last episode. Because it's like he's not a good guy. He's not doing this out of a desire to protect people. He's doing this out of a desire to prove himself right. He's doing this because it makes him feel good about his conspiracy bullshit. He's doing this because he enjoys it. He has no qualms about literally bullying a teenage girl. It's really fucking gross, honestly. And now with all of this going down as well, it's like she is not going to be in a good state to be able to do anything here. So I have no idea how this is going to go down. Um, Plus, she doesn't even have her powers anyway at the moment. So what's she supposed to do? We have Michael who has his foresight, but that's only going to help so much. And I have no idea if Kit's going to join back up with them or not. Because after Gentry dumped him and has basically said she doesn't want to be around him and doesn't want to be around all this supernatural stuff anymore. I mean, he's the one who gave Chang the cloak in the first place, the robe of the Yellow Emperor, because he wants to be human and he feels betrayed by Gentry, the one person he loved, the one person who, treated him as an equal before, treated him as human. And now he feels betrayed by her. And so Chang is the only person he had left to be loyal to at this point. I honestly don't think he's going to end up rejoining them. Kit is a pretty tragic character, and I really feel bad for him. Um, I'm really curious. I feel like there's got to be something else. Maybe he'll end up sacrificing himself. I hate to say that. I really hate to say that, but I can see his character arc going in that direction. Maybe he'll end up sacrificing himself to save Gentry, kind of redeeming himself in the end. That's the only way I could honestly see his character arc going at this point. The one thing I don't want them to do is to just, write him out of the story. I don't want him, written out of the story where he's like, oh, he just runs away and we never see him again. That would be so, dissatisfying, you know? I want him to at least have some role to play in these final episodes. Michael definitely is, oh my god, I can't think of her name right now. The other friend, she definitely will. Gugu is definitely coming back. That's going to be big. Obviously, Ed and the house ghosts who are currently frozen in stone, they're going to come back. They're going to be saved. Yeah, we know how this is going to go, but just, I guess, don't know exactly how we're going to get there. And I assume the final battle is going to be fought with Chang at this point. I don't see anything else happening in that regard. But the question is, will Gentry have to get her powers back to do that? Because I feel like I'm kind of mixed on whether or not I would want that to happen. Because it feels like she's finally free, you know? And I don't want her to have to be forced to go back to that, unless she gets rid of it again after. Just takes it back temporarily just to fight Chang. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I also want closure on her parents. That's one big thing we definitely need closure for. I would like to see Solar Tang return, even if it is just in a flashback with her parents. But I would like... that's just a personal interest. I know Solar Tang's not a massive character, but I would like to see her return. But we definitely need a lot of resolution here. And going back to the Gugu thing, this is the last thing I'll say before we get this started. I have a feeling at this point Gugu is going to be completely forgiven by Gentry. But if it's going to happen, she needs to make up for her wrongdoings. Gugu, I mean. She needs to make up for her wrong, bad actions. And she has to make that right in some way, shape, or form. I feel like if Gentry does forgive her, it can't be just, on her end. Gugu has to apologize and has to actively work to do better. Because Gugu is at fault for mostly everything going down. If we're being honest here. Gugu is at fault for Gentry's parents being dead, or at least, I guess, presumed dead. We know one of them is dead for sure. We're not sure about the other one. Um, yeah, I just, Gugu has to make right. She can't, and it can't just be an apology. She actually has to make things right. We'll see how it ends up going, so let's get into this and find out what this episode's going to have in store. Hold up just a second there. Before you click that link down in the description below to go to today's reaction, I just wanted to take this moment real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. And don't forget about all the awesome gaming content over on the Princess of Gaming channel. Every single day of the week, we have some awesome Let's Plays for you. A bunch of different things to check out, and more coming in the future. And don't forget to click that subscribe button or like the video if you really enjoy the content I'm putting out. There will be more to come in the future. In the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get this going. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So there's 2 things that we still have to do, but there's 3 episodes. Because obviously, we have the stuff with the Mogwai and finding Jentry's mother and all. Her father is dead, but the mother is alive. She just has had her memory stolen, so she's just off doing whatever, I guess, as someone else, basically. And the Mogwai is trying to make a deal with Jentry, which it looks like she might do. It looks like she might actually do that. Which is a problem, of course, but... And probably isn't going to end well, but still. Because this thing is clearly not good. The second thing we have to do is... we still have to save Gugu's sister. Like, we kind of left that open there with her not, like, saving her before they left. So we've still got to save her. But other than that, like, what else do we have here? We have 3 episodes left. Like, I assume the Mogwai is going to be the final villain here, not Chang. So, there's that. We're going to probably have a big battle with the Mogwai. But yeah, I don't know, like, after that. Because I don't see how we're going to do, like, saving Gugu's sister is not going to take an entire episode. And finding Jentry's mom and everything, I feel like that is a 1-episode thing. I feel like that doesn't need to be more than 1 episode, so... I don't know. I feel like there's a lot that I'm either missing or just don't know about how this is going to go. And I mean, mind you, that's not a bad thing because it means I get to go into this, like, really not knowing what's going to happen, which I think is good. But, yeah, I have no clue. Now, the death in this didn't surprise me either way. I mentioned in the reaction, but when we first thought it was Jentry, it didn't surprise me because I knew that they wouldn't kill off Jentry, especially with 3 episodes to go. So I wasn't even worried about that in the slightest. But then when it's revealed that it's Kit, it's like, it didn't surprise me because I guessed that was going to happen. I said that in the pre-thoughts. I was talking about, like, oh, Kit's probably going to end up sacrificing himself to make up for everything he's done and all. It just felt like it was going in that direction. That's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened. So, I'm not even surprised in the slightest. But I do want to talk about Kit here. Because Kit, like I did say, is a very tragic character. He's a character who just wanted to be human. Who just wanted to, live a normal life. He's been through so many different lives that have, never yielded him the result of humanity, have never made him feel like he's had a soul. And for the first time, he found someone who makes him feel accepted with Jentry. And he fucks it all up over and over again. He fucks it up in every way possible. And he turns her against him. And some might say that, like, sacrificing yourself to make up for that could be seen as, like, not in terms of the character, but in terms of the writing, manipulative. It's like, oh, you just make this big grand gesture and it absolves you of all the pain you've caused others. It's like, in realistic senses, that's kind of manipulative and all. But he literally sacrificed his life to save Jentry, to protect her. Because he wanted to make up for all the bad he did. Not out of a desire to make himself look better, but because he wanted to genuinely do this for her. He said it himself. For the first time, this was him doing it for her rather than his own desires, his own wishes. Everything he had done prior to this had been for him. He lied. He lied to himself, saying it was for her. And definitely lied to her about that as well, but it was all for him. And, yeah. So his sacrifice, I'm fine with it. But like I said, I could see some people having an issue in regards to just feeling like the writing is manipulative around it. But I think it would be worse if it were like Gugu. If Gugu like came out of nowhere, instead of apologizing or trying to make things right, she just did this big grand gesture. That I feel would be a bigger mistake. With Kit, like the things he did were clearly, wrong, but they weren't as bad as what Gugu had been doing. And honestly, he was still a lot more forgivable. Gentry's anger at him was, let's be honest, built from her anger at Gugu. She took a lot of her anger and mistrust for Gugu out on him because he proved to be just as untrustworthy. So she felt like she couldn't trust anyone except, I don't know, maybe Ed. And because of that, she took a lot of that rage out on him specifically, especially because she has this remaining love for her great aunt, for Gugu, that has kind of overtaken her hatred for what Gugu has done, which I'm still not the biggest fan of. I still think that she shouldn't just like forgive her and say like, oh, I missed you so much, I wanted you to come back and everything. I don't like that, because Gentry should hold a grudge against her for what she did. And yeah, Gugu apologized, but that was like after Gentry had clearly already forgiven her. And I think Gugu really needs to do a lot more, because from my view as a reactor and just someone watching this series, I don't think she's done enough to be forgiven. I just don't. Everything she's done, everything she's lied about, and the fact now that like the stuff with with Gentry's mother is like is having to be done with the Mogwai, because like Flora had still never been honest about that with Gentry. The fact that she still is like, she's clearly going to make this deal with the Mogwai because she feels like she has no other options to actually find out the truth. And that kind of proves why Gugu is still not trustworthy. Then we have the stuff with Chang. So this episode started with Chang, with his backstory showing how he became like tied up with the Mogwai, and how just kind of like fucked up he was over his daughter's death, but also how selfish he was over it, forcing this possibility of getting her back rather than letting her rest and mourning her properly. It reminds me of Salem from Ruby. It's very much the same thing, because in Ruby, Salem refused to let Ozma rest, and her selfishness is what eventually turned her into the evil that she is now. It turned her to turn against the gods. It caused them to abandon Remnant after taking away its magic and literally resetting the world. It caused all of the pain and misery and troubles that now plague Remnant. It's all her selfishness. And so it's very similar here. Chang's inability to let go caused these problems here. But you have to also acknowledge that Gugu is also complicit in everything that has happened. Everything that has happened with Jentry here, like, that led to everything that went down. That led to even Kit's death and all this other shit that's gone down. It's very much Gugu's fault still. Gugu and Chang are both in the wrong there. And again, I feel like Gugu has not made up for it. Chang finally saw the error of his ways at his death, but it took until that to get there. And he had to be defeated by Jentry to be stopped. Mind you, he was infected with the Mogwai at that point, so yeah. But he still wouldn't see reason as much as he needed to. So it's pretty crazy, pretty wild episode here. If you honestly told me this was the finale and this was like setting up for season 2, I would believe you. But again, I know we have 3 more episodes. So the Mogwai is definitely going to be the final villain of the series, or the season at least. We're going to find out what happened with Gentry's mom. I assume we're probably going to get a resolution maybe with her dad as well. And we're going to save Flora's sister. Other than that, I don't know what to expect going forward. But I'm very excited to see what happens. I'm going to say right now, the plan is that I'm probably going to do next week's episode on its own, and then do the final 2 together. I mean, I tend to do that a lot of times anyway, where I combine the final 2 episodes into one video. I think that's what I'm going to do again. So we'll have 2 more weeks of Jentry Chau, if this does end up going like that. If I change my mind or something, I'll let you know next time. But otherwise, yeah, that's the plan. And I'm very curious to see how they go about this. And I hope they don't, like, drag this out into the 13 at this point by having, like, an entire episode dedicated to just getting to wherever Gentry's mom is. Like, oh, they have to go through all these different trials or some shit like that. It's like, I don't want that. Don't do that. I'm not saying it has to be, like, instantaneous at the very beginning of the next episode, but just don't do like this big long thing where you waste an entire episode getting to that point, and then we don't even have like the real confrontation and like returning her memories until episode 12. Don't do that. This can be resolved in one episode, and it should be. It doesn't need to be dragged out. But I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens, how this all goes down, and hope for the best. Tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode? What did you think of how climactic and big it was? The sacrifice and everything. Just everything that happened in it. And obviously no spoilers, so do not spoil for the last 3 episodes. But let me know your thoughts. For now, though, thank you so much as always for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.